All right, well then we are live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts episode 317. It's the pre-Christmas episode where I, for some reason, sound like a wrestling announcer. I'm not sure what's going on there. Hernan's juggling, whatever. We are solidly cruising into the holidays, apparently. While Bradley gets things up and running in the background and take care of all the tech stuff so that we can continue doing this, I'm going to say hi to the guys. We'll give a quick introduction. We got some announcements we need to get through, and then we will be on to answering your questions. So I'm going to start with Mr. Reclining today. Chris, how you doing?
Doing good. Anybody talking about steaks?
No, but now I kind of want one. What's up with that?
Well, I don't know. Like, I had a pretty good dinner here, like quite a big, nice T-bone, so can't complain here.
All right, nice. Damn, I just had a smoothie. Now I really want a steak. So, Hernan, how about you? How you doing?
Good, man. The difference is that for Chris it's like 11 p.m. For you it's like 8 a.m. in the morning, man. So steak at that time. I'm good. So for me it's 6 p.m. because we're worldwide. We're broadcasting worldwide. It's good, man. Days are getting hotter, actually. It's been hot and humid, typical Buenos Aires, but it's good. Excited to be here.
Nice. All right, Marco, how about you? How's the weather?
It's downright chilly in Costa Rica, man. It was 65 this morning.
Oh man, would you have like a big sweater? And...
Had to get a sheet, man. It was ridiculous. But I'm sorry, you can't see the wind. I should change the camera over again. You can see all that sun. I'm getting about 10 inches of sun today, with more sun for tomorrow and the next 4 months or so. Not that you haven't seen any sun for the last 8 months or so. It is what it is, man. As I always say, you gotta pay the price for the life you lead. So that's the price I'm paying.
You know, we gotta get that audio clip from I Got You, Babe, that they played in Groundhog Day, the movie, every single time you woke up.
Yeah, right.
So every time we do Hump Day Hangouts and Marco gets introduced, we should play that at the same time. You know what I mean? Like the same position of that song. So
same clip
we need a producer
again
to like hit the audio buttons and stuff.
Just have one. I'll have a soundboard. It'd probably just be like fart sounds. That's all I would do. So.
Make it
all right, before I forget, my charity webinar series is starting on December 28th. So I'm going to wait until the end of the year to kick it off. It's going to be for 6 weeks. Thereafter, some of those will probably take place from the beach because I'm thinking about going back to the beach for a while this time. I don't know exactly when. It might take place during those webinars. We'll see. But I will do them. I mean, once it starts, I'll definitely do them. We'll definitely get going through this. I'm going to have guests this year. So you guys know, you saw Jordan's presentation. You saw what he did. He is definitely going to be part of this. Mike Pierce from NFG is going to be kind enough to show up and give us a presentation on what he's doing and the things that he's up to. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. It's not going to be just Rob and me or just me like it was the first year. We continue to improve and evolve. And we'll have lots of giveaways this year, like always. So it should be just a lot of fun, man. Looking forward to it.
Nice. Bradley, how you doing on the East Coast today?
Good. It's cold here, so it's getting warmer for Hernan. It's getting colder here. It kind of sucks, but no, it's good, man. Everything's good. Been steady working on a bunch of stuff that we're going to be launching in next year, and it's just been a lot of work. But I like these kind of days because you blink and the day's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get really involved in a project, so it's good.
Good deal. Well, just want to say real quick, if you are new to Semantic Mastery, if you're new to MGYB, if you've been somebody told you about coming and checking out Hump Day Hangouts, one of the first questions we always get is like, hey, where should I start? The answer is you're in the right place. Keep watching Hump Day Hangouts. But beyond that, go and check out theseoshield.com. All right, that will show you how you can shield your site and never really have to worry about algorithm updates again. And again, that's free training. It's at theseoshield.com. Beyond that, we've got several things depending on what you want to do. And we're working on, honestly, better communicating what it is you can expect and get out of Semantic Mastery, out of MGYB. But those are the two main paths. If you're maybe a business owner or you're already got your agency and you want to have done for you services that you could white label, head over to mgyb.co. You can find out everything there about syndication networks, the SEO shield, press releases, link building, what have you. And then if you're wanting more of the community, you want the support, you want a path forward on how to grow either your business or your agency, then you should come join us in the mastermind. And you can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. And just real quick, Marco mentioned Jordan. Jordan Fowler is a mastermind member, and he also was a guest speaker at POFU Live. And if you haven't heard much about POFU Live, you can go to pofulive.com. We also have the recordings available. Unfortunately, Jordan's is not included per our agreement with him. That was only for people who are live, but there is a ton of great content from everyone else, both here at Semantic Mastery as well as the guest speakers. We covered some serious ground this year in 2020 for our third year of POFU Live. So anyways, head over to pofulive.com. Just wanted to mention too real quickly, we've got some fun holiday stuff coming out starting very shortly with both mgyb and semanticmastery.com. If you're not on the email newsletters, head over to either one of those sites, and I strongly and highly encourage you to sign up. All right, and there might be some good holiday deals. There might be some other good stuff coming, but only for subscribers. So make sure you hop on those email newsletter lists so that you get notified.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
You know how we always say membership has its privileges. I don't want people to think that we're just omitting Jordan for no reason at all. First of all, it was his request. And what he said to us was that attending live should have a benefit. One of those benefits, and it's up to him because he did the presentation, was to make his presentation available only to people who attended live. So I suggest that from here on, and I mean, if I had missed that, I'd be kicking myself, right? It was that good. I just got done training a VA to write content his way. I mean, it's fantastic. We're testing tuned content. So entity-centric content is how we're doing. I just got done training a VA, and it works. I don't know. It's the way breadcrumbs are supposed to work. So you give the bot these breadcrumbs to follow, and it follows through the content, reinforcing the entity all along. Then you get the schema done correctly, which is the code. That gets done in the proper manner and in the proper sequence, everything calling to each other. And you're just setting the right sequence of breadcrumbs for the bot to follow so that you lead it wherever it is that you want it to go, which is, of course, to recognize your entity as the trusted authoritative entity in the NID. So it's just fantastic. And it was at his request because we were going to include it. But then he said, no, attending live should have some sort of privilege, some sort of bonus. And so that's why it was done that way.
Definitely good reminder of that. And I also want to say, speaking of the mastermind, on top of having several members join, new members in the last week, I know, Bradley, you're going to be, I don't want to spill the beans, but I believe you're going to be working with a mastermind member over the coming months on some stuff, right?
Yeah, only one, but I'm developing a new project, and I was asking in the mastermind if anybody wanted to join me so that we could, develop it faster. More heads are better than one. You know what I mean? And I had somebody take me up on it, and I think we're going to start meeting weekly, twice a week, actually, just very brief meetings just to discuss timeline and, the to-do list type stuff. But we're going to be meeting twice a week for the next probably 3 months or so. So I'll have kind of an accountability partner. And it goes both ways, right? He can hold me accountable. I can hold him accountable, and it'll help us to test and that kind of stuff. And at the same time, I'm also doing a mini mastermind in the a mini mastermind group for people that are in the mastermind that are either marketing for or in the real estate industry, whether it's for their own investment business, or if they do client work for real estate investors or realtors, real estate agents or that kind of stuff. And that's pretty cool too. We've only had 3 meetings for that, but that's pretty cool too. So there are definitely benefits. Membership does have its benefits.
Outstanding. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, I know Bradley gets in there, gets hands-on, and getting to work with the mastermind members is definitely a good thing to do. And I like I had several questions about artificial intelligence tools. And so I recently recorded a webinar on that a week or two ago. That's been a lot of fun diving into those tools and kind of sharing that with people. I know some of the guys in there have gotten to check that out. So anyways, just wanted to cover that real quick. Before we go in, guys, is there anything else we need to touch base on or good to go?
Yeah, there is.
What's up?
Google had a massive snowstorm and apparently the sky is falling. Or is it?
Snowstorm.
Well, I don't know. Like, didn't you read about the updates and like people streaming about things and I don't know, like losing the nerves?
Allegedly, there was an update. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, every time there's an update, that's what we should do. Maybe if you're watching, give us some feedback. Maybe we should just do a YouTube video each time there's an update, and we'll just refer people over to the SEO Shield as the solution, and then we can just have it canned and ready to go for every update.
That's actually a really good idea, man. Every time a new update is named, we do a video titled after the name of it, and then fucking SEO the shit out of it. And we get a lot of traffic that way. That's not a bad idea, man. Put that on the notes for next week's meeting.
There we go. All right, let's do it.
Why don't we give everybody else the idea publicly so that they do it? Why don't we do that?
It's all right. We have some authority built to semantic mastery, which would help. So, all right, I'm gonna grab the screen. You guys ready?
Let's do this.
So I can do it. All right, cool. It looks like the first question is from Timothy. He says, is it possible to add Google Tag Manager code to Google Sites? Not that I'm aware of. I haven't figured it out. If anybody would know, it would be Marco. Marco, is there any way to do that?
Not Tag Manager, but analytics. You can just add your gsite to analytics. We do that all the time. Analytics and Search Console, as a matter of fact.
But with Search Console, you have to add it with the account that owns the gsite, correct? Or else you can't validate it, correct?
Well, no, you have to validate it first, but then you can share it with a manager, which is what we always recommend.
Yeah, but that's
we
what I'm saying.
We recommend never diddling with the account ever again. So you go in, you do everything that you're supposed to do, analytics, Search Console, get everything in place, then never go back. Always go in through a manager.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as adding Tag Manager code, no, because you can't get into the HTML header or into the HTML section, like the body. I guess you probably could put the code. I don't know if it would strip it out or not for the body section, but you can't get into the HTML header, which the container code, you have two sections, right? One goes in the HTML header right after the opening head tag, and then the other one goes in the body section of the page right after the opening body tag. Well, you're supposed to try to get it as high up there as possible anyways. So yeah, we're unable to do that. But as Marco said, you can add your analytics tracking code, the universal analytics. I don't know about the G4 code yet, but I know you can add the universal analytics code to it. Were you going to comment, Marco?
No. That's perfect.
Okay. Is there such a thing as add-ons for G-sites like Chrome add-ons? I don't know. I haven't played around. I mean, I've been messing around in the new G-sites a lot, but I haven't looked in to see like what kind of apps and things you can add to the sites. I don't really stick to much of the design because we have, all the sites, G-sites that I have are built by mgyb. So whatever design they give to me, that's what I stick with. And I just model that as I'm doing expansions and things like that. So I haven't played with it. Get in there and look around, see what you can find. That's all I can suggest.
That's what I always recommend to people. As you know, what we do is enough to get as much benefit as possible. So let me rephrase that. We do as little work as we have to for as much benefit as possible. So rather, we know that we can get results with just the G site the way that we get it. Whether we could get better results, well, guys, I'm always telling you, you can't get better than number one. Once you're at number one, like how much better can you get?
Zero.
And if we can get to positions 0. So if we're already at number one, like why would we go searching for anything else? And if we did if we need additional power, we can hammer it the way that we always do, rather than look to see if a widget or an extension or an add-on or whatever is going to benefit the G site. It probably would if it's a Google property or if it's from something that has a lot of trust and authority, but probably doesn't cut it for me. You guys know I don't like to speculate. I would have to test it all. I don't have the time. What we're doing right now works fantastically well. This latest core algorithm update, I was looking on Monday because I was telling people I'm seeing between 5. Well, I told you guys too on Tuesday, between 5 and 25% across the board. It goes up. Every core update, the shit goes up. I got hit on one website, had nothing to do with the core update. We know exactly what it was. We fixed it, and it's starting to come back, except that all of the traffic doesn't come back all at once. But that's the only thing. So if I'm seeing between 5 and 25 after every core algorithm update, why would I do anything different? I'd be stupid to go and experiment on something. What am I going to try to get? That maybe 30% instead of between 5 and 25, between 5 and 30, and then risk everything that I'm doing. What we're doing, which is entity based, is what we do. It's entity based, worryless SEO. Why is it worryless? Because okay, so there's an update, big fucking deal. We work on the entity so that we don't worry about the update. That's what we do. Maybe it's too simple. Yeah, we're talking about this also. Maybe it's too simple for people. So you think it can't be that simple. It can't work. Making it simple doesn't mean it's easy. Hours and hours and years of development have gone into this so that it's simple for you guys. If you guys try to do it manually, good luck. Anyway, that's just to say, no, I'm not going to test it. I'm not going to waste my time. I have better ways to make money than to go test these knickknacks and things that can be added to the gsite.
Yeah, I can imagine that perhaps some apps could add some functionality that would be desirable if using the gsite as like the main site. But you know, that's just kind of more of a kind of a, you know, luxury to have additional things if
yeah,
that aren't really needed. But yeah, I mean, play around with it and see what kind of apps are there, and that's what I would suggest. So it looks like Jerry Berry says, do you still use CTR tools like CrowdSearch? When he says CTR is click-through rate tools, guys, I've called that CTR spam or click-through rate spam. And no, I don't use those anymore because at least there might be some better apps now, but the one that I had used a lot, which was CrowdSearch, you know, they were using commercial proxies, and that ended up, you know, basically just being disregarded entirely by Google. It worked like gangbusters for damn near 2 years. I mean, it worked incredibly well for a couple of years, but then it started to just basically not work. And there were some ways that you could manipulate it. You brought that up in your question. He says, you know, would it still be effective if pointed to tiered sites like WordPress.com or the gsite? And there was a period of time where it stopped working well for driving traffic directly to, or, you know, click-through rates directly to the website, but it was still working quite well if you set it up for referral traffic. In other words, you would send it to, like, say, for example, an indexed tweet URL, and then it would click through to the tweet URL, and then it would click the URL in the tweet, right? The link in the tweet that would go to the money page. And that worked quite well for a while, but then that stopped really working as also. Now, I haven't tested any CTR bots in at least 2 years. And the reason why is because we've talked about this many times here on Hump Day Hangouts, but you can buy traffic, real, genuine traffic from Google for very, very inexpensive if you're using display ads, so the Google Display Network, YouTube. I've been doing a lot of testing the last almost 3 weeks now with YouTube for generating leads for local businesses using YouTube ads. And when you get your targeting right, your audience targeting right, you can get really inexpensive clicks, not just views. I've always talked about using YouTube ads for views. It was more, every time I've ever talked about YouTube ads, I was talking about it more being more for local stuff, being more about branding, right? Getting that brand name in front of people over and over again as an indirect lead generation method. What I mean by that is, in the past, I was never really successful at getting a lot of clicks from the videos to a landing page that would convert, or calls directly from the, like, so in other words, you know, like calls to request an estimate or whatever directly from the YouTube video. So my conversion rates from the videos themselves were very, very low, if non, or almost non-existent. And so clicks, the cost per click was rather high. Cost per view could be dirt cheap, which is why I'd always set them up with the intent of them being branding campaigns as an indirect lead generation model, which means if somebody sees your brand name over and over, it's just like TV advertising, right? You see the ad over and over and over again for, like, let's say a tree service company. And then when that person finally is ready to have trees trimmed, or they got a tree that needs to be removed from their yard or whatever, they think, oh yeah, I keep seeing this ad from this, tree company. I'm going to call them. And they go to Google and search that name and then click through and go to the landing page and submit the form or make the phone call. And that's great. That works really well. And that's what I've been doing for several years with YouTube ads now. But, when you get the audience targeting right, you can actually generate very inexpensive clicks and in conversions as well. And that's what I've been really refining. I'm going to be doing potentially a training on that that we'll launch under Semantic Mastery at some point in the next few months. I'm really, really pushing on that hard. To get back to your question, though, you can buy very inexpensive traffic that's genuine users from identified audiences, right? It's either stock audiences or audiences that are already available in Google and the display network and YouTube. It's also a new type of ad out, or it's newer. It's called discovery ads. I haven't started testing that yet, but it's on my to-do list. And again, you can use audiences that are already available, predefined audiences inside of Google Ads, right? There's in-market audiences, which are great. Those are for people that are actively engaged in seeking out information about products or services. That's why it's called an in-market audience, because those people are likely in the market for those products or services. That's what I've been using for several years now, is in-market audiences, which, by the way, they keep adding more and more in-market audiences. Life event audiences are also similar to that. But I've more recently been testing what's called custom audiences, where you can set your own criteria and tell Google to start filling a bucket with people that meet this criteria. And then you can advertise to people in those buckets. And so especially when you're dealing with like local stuff, guys, you can buy traffic from YouTube or from the Google Display Network for very, very inexpensive. I mean, very inexpensive, probably about the same cost that you would be paying for a click-through spam bot, right? A monthly subscription. So I don't know what the monthly subscriptions go for those anymore because I haven't used them in several years. But I've got YouTube ads campaigns or display network ads campaigns that I run for, well, some YouTube ads campaigns I run for as little as 50 cents per day. That's $15 a month. Display network, I tend to try to run around $3 a day minimum. If it's for a client, I run $10 a day. But for, for my own stuff, like a lot of times I'll run $3 a day. So it's $90 a month. So if you have, between display network and YouTube, $5 a day is $150 a month. And you've got genuine traffic from Google, Google users with real profiles, real search histories, real interests. And if you set your geographic targeting, now they're going to be clicking through in the exact areas that you want. Whereas CT spam bots don't really give you that option, at least not as granular as to set it. Like with ads, you can set it all the way down to a zip code level. So again, I know that was a long-winded answer, but I think that's a good question. And I don't think it's necessary to use those tools anymore when you can buy real traffic from real users that are likely to convert because you're targeting the proper audience. Your message is relevant to them. And when they click through, there's a chance that they could convert, but it's the signal that you're buying for SEO purposes as well. So just to be clear, like what I'm doing with YouTube ads for local lead generation right now, I'm driving to a landing page that's not even, it's a subdomain of my primary website. So I'm not doing it for the SEO benefit. I'm doing it specifically because I'm trying to refine the method so that I can start using YouTube ads to generate leads for local. But if you're running traffic to like the main money site, then, that's really, really good traffic signals that you're buying because it's from relevant audience. They're likely to dwell on the page or click through to another page or even convert. And that's a hell of a lot better than some spam bot that's going to visit your page with no search history, no interest history, and all, a whole bunch of random searches and all that kind of stuff. It's not weighted as heavily, if that makes any sense. And again, you can probably buy traffic. I don't know what CT spam bots cost anymore. I haven't looked into it in a while, but you can probably buy traffic from Google directly for about the same cost that you would be paying for CT spam bots. And you're buying real, genuine traffic. Any comments on that, guys?
Yeah, we're looking for art, right? Activity, relevance, trust, and authority. Unfortunately, the CTR bot, that click-through rate bot, it establishes some activity, some relevance, but that trust and authority is missing. The trust and authority element, because they're not going to convert. No bot is ever going to convert unless you get the bot really good at going through filling out your contact form. And I think someone is working on that currently, which is still not going to make you any fucking money. So all you're going to do is spend money. However, The signals that would send when that person is finishing whatever goal you set for that person to finish on your website is when it would work. Now, right now, as we speak, the CTR doesn't complete it. Those bots don't complete it. The ones who do are people who you send to your website, whether it's through organic traffic or through paid traffic like you're talking about. And we limit ourselves to just Google and YouTube because they're Google properties and they work so well. Google is sending us their people, but you could have the same effect and you could create even more variety if you were to, for example, run ads in Pinterest for pennies on the dollar. Also, Facebook, Hernand does that all the time, pennies on the dollar. Instagram is another one. I mean, just think about it. LinkedIn, you can run ads, and you could be running these ads and people into your landing page where some of these people are bound to convert. Give them an email opt-in form so that they can go into your email marketing campaign so that you can then hit them up with offers for whatever it is that they were interested in. They were interested enough to give you the email address. So then you hit them up through email and get them back. So that's going to be seen as people coming back on your website. That adds another layer.
Don't forget the remarketing list too.
You're adding a remarketing list. You're adding all of these different things so that you can then show Google, hey, I got people that trusting me. I'm getting them back. And that's a much better signal than just getting a bot in there that never finishes, never accomplishes what you set out for the bot to do.
Yeah, and to expand on what Marco just said, you know, that in itself to me is worth buying real traffic, is because, you know, if you've got a remarketing, you know, in Facebook it's retargeting, but in Google it's remarketing. And if you have remarketing tags on your site, then you can build a remarketing list. So now you can remarket to those visitors. They're real, genuine visitors. If you are trying to do remarketing and you're running spam traffic, like CTR spam traffic to a site, you're going to be filling your remarketing list with people that are with basically bots and stuff like that. So to me, like that would be, you know, I don't know that you're doing remarketing, but if you're not, why not? To me, remarketing is like an absolute, you know, it's a must. It's required now, in my opinion. And so even if the traffic that you're buying isn't ready to purchase now or become a lead or whatever your conversion goal is, they may very well be in the future. And if you've got them on a remarketing list, you're going to keep that brand name in front of them. And that's the other thing is, remember, repeat traffic, return visitors is also a great SEO signal. So by remarketing to real, genuine people instead of to bots, then it's likely that they're going to come back and they will have already been cookied anyway. So Google's going to know that now you're getting return visitors, right? So again, it's just a lot of benefits of using paid traffic, especially from Google audiences. I mean, it's incredible what you can do with Google Ads now, guys. It's gotten, I mean, even just from just 6 months ago, it's gotten a lot better. The audience targeting and such is just really, really good now. It's becoming incredibly good. So,
Agreed.
Anyways, moving on. All right, so Benno's up. He says, hi, Bradley and guys. I have a product I am selling on Amazon in a competitive wellness niche. Getting the listing page ranking on page 1 for the main search terms is going the only way to be the only way to be profitable, given the high CPC on Google Ads. I'm thinking RYS Stack and the kitchen sink behind it. A couple of questions. Do you think using an RYS Stack for an Amazon listing is a good idea? That's a great question. Do we have any? I don't do any e-com, so I don't know, but I know that we've talked about this, my partners and I, and we might be doing an e-com case study here with our methods over the next couple of months, because we had an opportunity kind of fall in our lap thanks to a couple of our partners. So, but do we have any, Marco, do we have anything that you can mention about that? You're muted.
Sorry. Not with Amazon. I don't do Amazon. We do have some e-com case studies coming up. However, ranking your page with an Amazon offer is what most people are doing, and for that, the RYS Stack is perfect. Because right now everything is entity. Whether if you're looking to, well, here I go. So I'm stuttering because I'm thinking two different things. Are you trying to rank inside Amazon? If so, then that's the Amazon algorithm, and I have no idea. If you're outside Amazon, I know Google, and I can tell you how to rank in Google, which is throw an SEO shield around it, power it up, get your content going so that you're ranking your product pages. Other than that, I mean, to tell him, let me just read the question again.
He's trying to get
An
to page one of Google.
Amazon listing, an Amazon listing page. So where is the listing? On a
It
website?
looks like he's trying to get on the Google, Marco, because he's saying ranking on page 1 for the main search term. So I'm assuming he's talking about getting on a Google.
For the main search term, I doubt, like right away. That takes a lot of power. You know, you're going to have to silo it. You're gonna have to do it correctly. You're gonna have to, I mean, get the SEO Power Shield. Go to the SEOpowershield.com so you get an idea what it's all about and how it can help you. Get our battle plan, right? The SEO battle plan. So you have an idea on how this is all structured and put together, the different things that are available to you so that you can go to mgyb.co, become familiar with all of our products and services. And I know that someone recently said that we're constantly upselling our stuff. That's not what we're doing. We're giving you the keys to the kingdom. We're telling you this is what we do. This is what we use when we're ranking. And well, we have to pay for it. We don't get it for fucking free, man. We had to train all these VAs. We had to get we had to get servers. We had to get all of these things going so that we could make use of all of these things. It's not free to us. So I don't know how someone gets, well, all you guys are doing is upselling. Oh, fuck no. What we're doing is we make it available at such a price that it becomes, here's the word again, simple. For you to go and order what we do, because we go in and we order. Brandon, I see your shit going through all the time because I get the emails. I see everyone's stuff coming through, orders and talking back and forth and what they need. Maybe it's a client, whatever the fuck it is. So no, guys, it's not upsells. It's the path that we've paid for you so you can get on your fucking way to POFU. Whether you use it is not our problem. We've done as well as we can, or we've done whatever we can to set the path for you. Whether you walk the fucking path, it's up to you. It's not on us. We had to pay for our shit. So how can you expect not to come to our shit and not have to pay? This is the only free time. And maybe the free Facebook group to ask some questions. But the rest of that, come on, guys. It costs us money, knowledge. How much do you have to pay? If your doctor has to operate, yeah, he's just going to cut you up and do whatever the fuck he has to do. You're paying for that knowledge. You're not just paying for the operation. You're not just paying for the service. You're paying for years and years of knowledge. Well, that's what's gone into all of this, right? So all that to say, yes, if you want to rank, and I can't say for the top term in Google, but if you want results, the way to do it, the way that we do it, as a start, is to solidify the entity with an SEO Power Shield. And that's bare bones, because of course there's content, proper silo structure, according to SEO Ultimate Bootcamp. There's schema. There's all of these things that have gone into place that might be needed after you've taken care of solidifying the entity. So I hope my answer is, the answer that you're looking for is somewhere in there. If not, then I don't have another way to answer this. I'm sorry.
Adam, you were going to say something?
No, I think that's good. Just to say that, yeah, we've got some stuff coming up in early 2021, and maybe Amazon is something we should wrap into that. So just food for thought.
Hernan?
Yeah, I've seen some people also doing, because if he wants to get ranked on Google, right? Not on Amazon, because on Amazon you can hire some services that they will like launch you in a way that they'll send you a bunch of traffic, and then Amazon, based off of traffic and purchases, it will list you higher on the Amazon search engine, right? But I've also seen some people doing some sort of landing page and then running Facebook ads to that. So a landing page with a coupon. So you send traffic to a landing page with a coupon. Then you optimize your ads for leads, because you cannot track, right? You cannot install a pixel on Amazon. So you send your traffic to a landing page with a coupon, and then the thank you page, you can do a meta refresh or a redirect or something to the Amazon listing so that people can end up buying there. So those are the things that I've seen, and that can help you. That can help you when it comes to getting higher rankings in Amazon, because now you're sending a lot of traffic into Amazon that can actually help you rank higher on Amazon. And in the meantime, or at the same time, I would put together some sort of either landing page or small website so that, you can do the SEO Shield and all that stuff to get ranked on Google as well. So,
yeah, I joined over the Black Friday holiday, Cyber Monday, that whole, sale period. We do it too, guys. So, but I bought into several YouTube training programs for YouTube ads, and some of it is for affiliate stuff, and I don't even do affiliate stuff. But I wanted to get as much training as possible about YouTube ads because I'm determined to make YouTube ads for local lead generation work. And so I've been studying a lot. And one of the things I've come across through the YouTube ads trainings that I've been going through is, people are crushing e-com with YouTube ads right now. It's like, and again, I would consider looking at YouTube ads as another way to generate traffic to a landing page where you talk about the product, you give away a coupon or something like that, that then, as Hernan says, would redirect people to the Amazon page where then they could redeem the coupon. That I would really look into that if I were you, because that's a great source. According, again, I don't do any of this stuff, but according to some of the groups that I'm in right now about it, some people are just crushing it with YouTube ads for e-com stores. So. All right. The next part of that was what would be the best way to use an RYS stack to power up the Amazon listing page? I think Marco already answered that. Can the RYS stack link directly to the Amazon page, or should there be a tier 1 network between the Amazon page and the RYS stack as with a regular money site? Well, to be clear, there is not a tier 1 network between a money site and the RYS stack. The RYS stack links directly to the money site and to the social, the tier 1 properties, so the syndication network and such. But the Drive stack can link directly to, and it should, directly to your money site. So as far as, like, again, I can't answer whether linking directly to an Amazon page is going to help, but linking to a landing page where you're showcasing an Amazon product, that I know would, you would want to link directly to the landing page from the RYS stack. So the tier 1 syndication network or entity properties are included in the Drive stack build, but they're not the target. They're not like the sole target URLs for the Drive stack. The Drive stack also links to your money site or money pages, depending on what it is that you're doing. So in this case, I would say, I don't do anything on Amazon, so I don't know how to optimize for Amazon, but I do know how to optimize for Google. All of us here do. And that would be, ranking or linking to a landing page where you would showcase the product and perhaps provide some incentive for people to submit their information, and then you could redirect them. And in that case, yeah, I would link directly to that landing page or money site from the RYS stack. Marco, you want to add to that?
No. I totally agree.
Okay. That was a great question, by the way. We're going to keep moving. Sorry that it's been kind of long, but we'll keep moving. Adem says, what are some safe automated link building we can apply to money sites aside from the ifttt rings? I don't know, because I don't do any automated stuff other than, I've got, I do a ton of press releases and such, and that's semi-automated because we don't have to write it. All we have to do is, order the press releases, submit the details that we want written about. But you can, it's semi-automated in that we don't really, we don't have to do much except submit the order, and then press releases are published, and that's an integral part of my strategy. Something else that we are going to be doing more of over the coming weeks and months is testing. We're testing right now, and I'm behind in it, but Jeremy from pressadvantage, one of the co-owners and co-developers of pressadvantage, has got a product on beta right now that we are testing that helps to build like auto blog sites. It's really, really powerful, like industrial strength auto blog stuff. And that provides an RSS masher. Damon Nelson's RSS masher can do something similar, but where you can create like auto blogs and automatically have content that you publish from your money sites be published on auto blogs, right? Alongside of a lot of other relevant related content, so that it's not a huge footprint, but that's something else that can be done. Again, we haven't been doing that, although we are testing, starting to test with some of that stuff now. But other than that, I don't really do any automated link building stuff. Everything I do is done manually, and it's mainly through content marketing that, I have VAs and such handle. And that includes link building through GMB, through blog posts, the syndication network, press releases. And then, like I said, we're starting to test some of that auto blog stuff using Jeremy's new app, which is, again, it's in beta, guys, so it's not available yet. You want to comment on that?
Absolutely. Unless you really know what you're doing, stay away from the money site with any kind of automation.
I agree.
Just stay away. Just stay away. That's what your SEO shield is for. That's why we developed it. That's why we call it entity-based, worryless SEO. You start hitting the money site, then you have to worry about other factors in the algorithm that you don't have to worry about if you're out at the SEO shield level with your dry stack and gsite in place, shielding you from the updates and powering up your link building and everything else that you're doing, your embed runs, your press releases, everything that you're doing gets amplified through the SEO shield. So why do anything else? Unless you really know what you're doing and you're really proficient with those tools. In fact, Dedia will tell you, don't build links straight to the money site. And he's our master spammer. So if he says don't, then don't.
I agree. And I'm typing this in just because this is one thing. It's Lisa Allen's product. And I'm just typing this out, guys. Yes, I'm going to give you the affiliate link for this, but this is called RSS Authority Sniper. It's a product. It's the front end product for what I think her product is that is valuable for something that we're talking about. It's called Rank Feeder, FEEDR, right? So anyways, RSS Authority Sniper is the front end product, but the upsell or whatever is Rank Feeder, which is a monthly subscription, but it's very inexpensive. And you can create these, what she calls co-citation feeds. And that can be really powerful too. And that's automated in that you can create feeds, co-citation feeds, where you can embed or have your content associate through your own RSS feeds, through GMB, through your syndication network properties that have RSS feeds, through your money site, through pressadvantage organization feed, all of those different things. You can create these spliced super feeds with topically and geographically relevant content from other feed sources. And you can even put sticky items and things like that, meaning like you can put pages from your site in as part of the feed that will always appear in the feed output, so that it starts to create this co-citation and build relevance through association, right? And that can be really powerful. And I've talked about in some of our paid groups about how you can take an RSS Authority Sniper feed, or excuse me, a Rank Feeder feed, and burn a feed burner feed out of it, and then use what's called the Buzz Boost embed code and actually go do like embed gigs and stuff like that with that code, that Buzz Boost embed code that is this co-citation feed. Essentially, it's an iframed feed output, but it's co-citation feed. So you kind of, again, you build authority and relevancy through association, and then you can take that code and you can put that in places like the gsite, that kind of stuff, or you could do embed gigs. And again, that's not fully automated, but it's semi-automated. It's automated in the fact that you get the feed is updated by other people's content, and it starts to create that association, that topical relevancy, as well as, like I said, even geographical relevancy. If you add local feeds into the spliced feed, and all of that is automated because it's other people's published content that helps you to build some authority. But then what you do with that feed is what you can do to improve the results, or get better results from it. And so again, that's something else I would recommend you go check out, is the Rank Feeder, Lisa Allen's Rank Feeder. Okay, moving on. Next one is it good practice to build tiered links from mgyb to pressadvantage releases and organization pages? Yes, of course it is. If so, what are some other properties that would be safe to build links to? Any one of your tier 1 entity assets, your SEO shield assets, syndication network, pressadvantage organization page, pressadvantage press releases. I've talked about this many times as well, but extracting the post URLs from your syndication network, right? So in other words, every time you publish a post on your money site and it syndicates out to your network properties, they each get their own. So like Blogger, whatever, your Blogger site, it's going to have its own post URL for that post, right? So go extract those, and then you can build links to those. GMB posts, again, all of that stuff can, we don't build links directly to the money site using these methods. We build them to the tier 1 entity assets. So just, again, think about all the URLs that you can extract from your tier 1 entity assets that then you can power up. And you can do that very strategically. So for example, if you create a silo on your site and you're trying to rank, your top level term for that silo, but you got, 10 supporting articles to add depth to that silo, and all of that has been published out. Well, now you can go to your syndication network properties. And let's say you got press releases and GMB posts, all of those that are associated with that particular silo, you can put into one file and then buy link building gigs and or embed gigs or both to hammer away at that one set of target URLs that are all thematically relevant because they're all part of one silo, right? So again, you can get really, really strategic with your link building and embed gigs and such when you do it that way. It's not just about hammering the profile URLs like the home page of the profile URLs like your Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, and all the other properties. That helps, that works. That's what I do as well. But if you want to get targeted and get special, push certain keywords and things like that, then think about it on a silo level and how you can power up specific silos using all those tier 1 entity assets that we just talked about. That's a good question. Comments on that?
Anything except the money site.
Exactly. All right, moving on. Okay, Cliff says, what are the steps to setting up a new... Okay, Cliff, I saw that you asked this in one of the groups. He says, what are the steps to setting up a new GMB account? Can I have more than one business attached to my Gmail email account? I want to set up GMB up for a client and then one or more for me. Thank you. Okay. And he asked about this in Local GMB Pro. He's a new member of Local GMB Pro, and he asked if we had a checklist or a process. No, I can't recall a checklist. And it's been a long time since I've been in the actual training area because it's been a couple of years. That's something we could produce. I know with some of the stuff that I'm doing right now for YouTube ads and such that I've talked about it earlier in today's Hump Day Hangout. We are going to be doing some updates. Marco and I just talked about this yesterday, in fact, about doing some updates, and Local GMB Pro is one of them. So that might be something we can add. It won't be any time within the next couple of weeks though, Cliff, just to let you know. But yeah, that's something we could probably add as a checklist or process map or something. But setting up GMBs is rather easy. I say that the process is simple. Just go to business.google.com. Search for the name of the business. If it's an existing business and there's an unclaimed listing out there, it'll pull it up when you search for the name or the phone number or whatever. If it doesn't exist and you want to create it as new, it prompts you to create a new business. So then you just walk through the wizard, right? It's a very simple process. It couldn't be easier to go add all the business details. And then from what I understand, I haven't seen any phone verifications. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any phone verifications in quite some time. So it'll get to a point where it'll ask you to verify the information and verify the business. And the way that it does is it will trigger a postcard delivery where they'll send you essentially a postcard in the mail to the business address, the address that you submitted when you created the listing. And once that postcard is usually there within about 5 to 10 days. And once you get that card, you go back and it's got a PIN number, like, a code, a verification number inside the card. And you enter that code in order to verify the listing. Once you enter that code and you click, verify or confirm or whatever the button says, and it's confirmed, then it will publish the listing. But it's, again, Cliff, I didn't post all this in the Facebook group when you asked that in Local GMB Pro Facebook group, because I wanted to just kind of talk through it. It's a very simple process that sometimes, especially right now with all this craziness that's going on with Google My Business, you might request the postcard and it doesn't show. It just doesn't come. And if that's the case, you can go in and request it again. I would wait at least 10 days. Because if you request it again, like let's say that you waited 5 days and you're impatient and you haven't received the card yet, or the business that you're sending it to hasn't received the card yet, and you go in and request another one, then it invalidates the first one if it was sent out and it just was delayed in the mail. And say you get it 2 days later, that first code will be invalidated. It won't work because you have to wait now for the second card to show up. So what I'm saying is be patient. Wait about 10 days or so. And if it hasn't shown up, and by the way, I don't know if this is still the case because it's been a while since I've manually created a GMB profile, but they oftentimes, GMB will email you to tell you that the card is sent in the mail. Like it's in the mail, and usually 2 to 3 days later it's there. I don't know that that's still the case, but I know in the past I've gotten notifications from Google that the card has been sent. So then obviously you go look for it, you get it, you verify it, you're done. If it does not, like I said, if you don't get the card, then you can request to have it sent again. And that's really, you're at Google's mercy at that point. But I have seen that sometimes it's a pain in the ass to get them to send it for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it's a very simple process. Use Google, the help. Remember, you can go to Google My Business help files. So business.google.com, click on the help files and search how to create a GMB listing or Google My Business listing, right? And Google will walk you through that step. So we could create a checklist for you inside of Local GMB Pro, but pretty much, I'm sure Google already has one, and it's going to tell you to go in and fill out all your business details. It's going to tell you about each one of the sections that are available inside of the GMB dashboard. And some features are only available to certain industries, but most of them are common to all industries. So again, I would highly recommend you just go through some of Google's help files if you have any questions about that, and obviously use the Facebook group. We will probably get a checklist, Cliff, because we're going to be updating Local GMB Pro, but it's not going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I can tell you that. Mark, you want to comment on that?
Man, the only thing that I can add to this on as far as that GMB, before you send for it, get as much of it done as you can.
Yes.
So you don't tinker with it that much after. Try to tinker with it as little as possible, because that's when Google gets you, especially in those troublesome categories. Man, if you're able to get one right now, you get as much as you can done, and then you just go posting. I mean, it's what we do, the way that we teach in Local GMB Pro. But everything should be set. You should never go back and touch that. Because if you do, then you're asking to get suspended. And you have to understand that. If you go back and you mess around with any of that information, and anything literally can and will get you suspended. Not that it's going to happen to you exactly, but you raise enough flags and it's going to happen, period. And then if it's spammed, how can you get it back? If it's fake, how can you get it back? You can't go and complain to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're manually creating them, though, that means you're going to have a real valid address to have the card shipped to, which means if it were to get suspended just from making edits, it's more likely that you can get it reinstated. But I can't guarantee that or promise that to you, because Google's been real. It's been a real pain in the ass. But and I agree with Marco. If you go to set up a new listing, try to optimize as much of it as possible before verifying it. In other words, before getting that card and then entering in the code and clicking confirm or verify or whatever. Because once it's been verified, sometimes just making simple edits that are normal valid edits can cause suspension. It's interesting.
Yep.
I had 2 GMBs that I had purchased, so spammed GMBs delivered within the last few weeks. And I had ordered them back in July, and they just finally got delivered. And I went into one to remove the service area, the physical address, because it's a tree service business, and there's service area. For service area businesses, you're supposed to remove the physical address so that it doesn't show, and that's per Google's terms of service. And so I went in just to remove the physical address because it was delivered to me with the physical address showing, which it shouldn't have. And as soon as I click save, it suspended it just like that. Well, there's no recovering that. It's a spam listing. But the other listing I got, I've gone in and I've changed the name, I've changed the phone number, I changed the website URL, and and there's no rhyme or reason. It's another tree service listing in a different area. But one of them, all I did was do what Google says as per terms of service, and it instantly suspended. The other one, I went in and changed all the things we tell you guys not to do. I did all of it, and it didn't suspend it. So it's live right now. So there's no rhyme or reason that I can figure out. That's why what Marcus says is absolutely true. Optimize as much as you can before verifying a listing if you're going to do it the manual route, and then don't touch the damn thing other than GMB posts. So another good question. We've had a lot of good questions. We're going to run out of time too. Let's try to roll through a few more. So Cliff, yeah, again, use the group. We're happy to answer questions in there. Hopefully we'll get Local GMB Pro updated within the next maybe 2 months or so, because there's a lot of stuff that we can add to it coming up for sure.
Maybe we can ask Rob to set up a mind map.
Yeah.
For the Local GMB Pro, like he did for
the
Heavy
SEO
Hitter
Shield
Club and the SEO Shield.
Yeah.
He's really good with that shit.
Yeah, he is. All right, Pablo's up. He says, hey guys, I have a list of links from mgyb map embed and link building gigs. Can I order a Fiverr gig for a 1 million GSA links that will be directed to those embeds and contextuals? If not, please tell the best target for kitchen sink spam. Thank you. Yeah, you can. I don't see why you can't. I wouldn't order a bunch of Fiverr links directly. I mean, you can do it. Marco's done it. I wouldn't order a bunch of Fiverr links directly to my tier 1 entity assets, but you're talking about building links to your links that you purchased to build links to your tier 1. So you're talking like tier 3, tier 4, that kind of stuff. Yeah, in my opinion, that's fine. Marco?
If you don't, all right. So if you're going into Fiverr and you're buying 1 million Fiverr GSA links from Fiverr, please understand that the list is not going to be cleaned up for you. That takes too much time. Please understand that they're going to go find anything to link to you. So a lot of those links will be irrelevant, but they will be relevant if you push them through the SEO PowerShell. Now, my question here is why? Why do you want to do it? Just to test? That's fine. But if you're expecting people to go looking, understand that you will have porn in there and that those porn links, some of them will index. Do you want that in your link profile? So if you don't mind that, we didn't know when we were testing for DC Plumber. It's so funny because we didn't know. We didn't know what was going to come on the other end. And here comes Google going out to tier 4 and 5 and looking in there and indexing shit at tier 4 and 5, which is just garbage, guys. Garbage. Shit you don't want to look at. All right. So that got indexed and it went into the link profile. Do you want that as your link profile or with your link profile? Otherwise, I mean, have at it. If you don't mind, if you don't care, have at it. Million, 5, 10 million, have at it. Because what happens is if you tier them, it will help all of those map embeds and the link building links to index. Just don't hit it doesn't take that much. I mean, I'm not going to tell you ratios or anything like that because that's dead end and we got to keep something under our hat. But you don't need all that many to get them, especially if they're tiered, to get shit to index at tier 1 and 2.
Yeah. All right, so the next question is kind of a long one. Marco, looks like it's directed at you. It says, hey guys, question for Marco. What's the best way to dominate brand serps when the brand name has multiple variations? Example with dash in between name and spacing between name. All profiles are mostly using the preferred name. And then through the organization schema, I have specified the brand variations, but still rankings are fragmented for other variations with some SERP results completely irrelevant to the brand's industry. Any advice on the best approach? Tried tiered links and PRs with minimal success so far. So Marco, that's going to be for you.
Yeah. There's not much that I'm going to give away for free because I charge a whole lot of money to do this, guys. To validate and then solidify the entity in such a way that what you're talking about, which is some ambiguity in the terms so that all of it is cleaned up. It's going to take schema. It's going to take brand plus keyword association. And it's going to take, most of the things that he's mentioned. I think he mentioned that he's run link building gigs. Didn't I see that?
Yeah, tiered links and PRs.
Yeah, that's not enough. The PRs have to be done in a certain way, and you have to include your entity in the PR, and you have to include what it is that you're trying to clean up, what you're trying to bring it together. You're trying to create, and I'll give you this because we've mentioned it live before and in public. You're trying to create the parent-child relationship.
Yes.
But you're trying to make sure that the parent is never confused with the child. So think of George Bush and G-Dub. They're both George Bush. And so if you don't create that parent-child relationship, you just say George Bush, but which George Bush are you talking about? Are you talking about the father or are you talking about the son? Well, G-Dub or George Herbert Walker Bush, right? We have to know, and we have to specify to the bot which thing it is that we're talking about, which thing our main thing is, and what everything that's related to that thing, what everything is and how it relates to the main thing, and how does that main thing then relate also to its children. So of course they're children, but how do you call to them? How do you call to one another? that's part of it. Schema is only going to take you part way there. It's branding, and it's entity work. And I can tell you that I did one. I cleaned one up in 90 days, where it was just totally fucked up. And then another one that I ambiguated by mistake. It took me nearly a year to clean it up. And so with that much work, is that something that I'm willing to just give you a consultation on in a free forum, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, because his next question is similar in that he says also, what types of schema can we nest inside organization? Just getting into this, and it seems like a fascinating branch of SEO. And so what I would suggest is you go join the Heavy Hitter Club.
Exactly.
Rob and Marco go in, balls deep into real technical SEO stuff, schema being a big part of that now. So I would recommend you check out the Heavy Hitter Club, because these types of questions, that's what they live for in there. It's that kind of stuff. So, and just like I've mentioned before, when you're talking about nested schema, it can get very, very complicated quick, unless you know what you're doing. And it's not that you can nest different things inside the organization. It's just that you referenced certain things. And so I've been using schemaapp.com to be able to write that kind of schema, because I don't have the patience or the desire to learn how to kind of code that shit out by hand like what Rob does. So I've been using Schema App, and they've got some good training in there, but it's training specific to their app, just so you know. But there's some good training in there. But if you want to learn the concepts, really well, then I recommend absolutely go to Heavy Hitter Club. That's what it's for. So we're just about out of time. We are out of time. I don't know if you guys want to stay around, but I want to answer these next two questions real fast, and then I'm ready to bail. So you guys can all go if you need to. I'm going to answer these last two. Reggie says, normally offer SEO packages to website, but a client recently asked if I can do SEO just for his GMB as he doesn't have a website. What would be a good way to price such a package? I'm thinking about 1 PR and a batch of embeds each month from mgyb, but I don't want to be too expensive as they are small and only targeting a handful of areas. Any tips would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, 1 PR, it just depends on the competition level. I don't know how competitive it is, that the keywords of the area, the location is that you're targeting. 1 PR a month is to me, that's almost not worth doing. I'm not saying it can't help, but I recommend at least 2 per month. And if that's cost prohibitive for that company, first of all, it's likely that you need to just get better clients or better, some people want, and I know you're trying to probably help. I get that. That's admirable. I totally understand that. But, business owners have to be realistic about what they're willing to spend in order to bring customers into their business. And if they can't afford, a very minimal SEO plan, then it's likely that they're never, it's going to be a pain in the ass to work with. That said, just 1 press release and some embeds, I can't say that that's going to help much. It may not. And what I would suggest is doing a lot of GMB posts, the way that we teach in local GMB pros specifically. And then link building, especially if you learn how to silo and all that stuff, which is what we talk about in local GMB Pro, which is specifically for ranking and the GMB assets, Google My Business assets, even if there's no money site involved, right? It could be just the Google My Business website. And that's what local GMB Pro is all about. And that's about siloing and link building and embeds. Press releases can and should be a part of that. But again, on a budget, I don't know how far you're going to get with that. But you want to comment on that? Anybody?
The results that I showed yesterday from that project that I'm doing, that's strictly from GMB, right? That's strictly applying local, the profile 100%. Right, so completely optimized. I usually leave it at 85. This one, that 85 disappeared. Even the number disappeared. So it went 100 and then disappeared. And then just doing the way that we teach inside local GMB Pro, because nothing else is happening in that GMB other than that. The first silo isn't ready for press releases and link building and embeds and all of that. It's not even ready. And I showed how much action is getting already with limited time and with the limited things that have been done to it. The way to get results is doing that. Steady content, right? You have to be active in there.
Yes.
The content, images. So maybe you could sell that, but how much, like, if it's someone that's really hyper local and is mom and pop, and the lead isn't even worth it, like, because you could go on a per lead basis with them, like, you would have to see how you price this out. What's a lead worth to them? Like, is it worth $50? How many leads are you going to be able to provide? 50 per month at 50 bucks? Well, there you go. There's your pricing. Now you have a way to talk to these people in real numbers that you can produce. That's how I would price it out, rather than going to them with a set SEO budget. Hey, what if I get you calls?
Yeah,
I can get you calls at so many calls, at so many dollars per call. Something like that. That kind of model might be better.
All right, one more. I just want to answer this one because I read it earlier, and for whatever reason, I just want to answer, guys. And we got to wrap it up. So sorry for everybody else that we didn't get to. You guys know how it goes. Get in here, post early. There's a reason. Anyway, Pablo says, Lanner says, if I'm building a WordPress website from scratch, do you suggest that I purchase a theme or use one of the WordPress themes, like examples 2017? My reason for asking is that in your video on building silos, you made mention of using plugins that can customize the widget for posts, etc. Would these plugins work on a theme I bought, or is it better to use one for the standard WordPress themes to build my site? I always go with paid themes, premium themes, and for a couple reasons. A lot of those free themes, well, like the WordPress themes, they would be good, but they're hard to make look good, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe with the Gutenberg, the block editor, it's different. I don't even use that, so I don't know. I prefer a better looking site. So I go with paid themes. And the reason I like paid themes is because that means that there's developers behind them, because they're receiving income from their product, that they will continue to support those. In the past, when I've tried to use free themes for like building PBNs and things like that, or buying themes from like JVZoo and things like that, 2 years down the road, half those damn themes don't get supported. And after a few WordPress updates, they just flat out don't work anymore. So I try to buy themes from premium developers so that I know that the support is always going to be there. They're going to continue to develop them, fix bugs, add improvements, things like that. So I don't recommend using the free. I mean, you can, but I don't recommend using the free themes. I always recommend finding a developer. I prefer to stick with one or two type of theme developers so that I can get, every theme developer creates themes that have different functionalities, and they all have learning curves, especially now because they're page builders and all this other stuff. And they all might have similarities, but they all have their own nuances as well. And so I try to stick with just one or two types of theme developers so that I can learn their theme framework very, very well. And it makes it much more efficient for me to work in. I don't recommend, 18 different theme developers, because then you have to learn the ins and the outs of all of those. So I prefer a premium theme developer for that reason. As far as the SEO plugins, SEO Ultimate Pro, that has a deep silo builder module in it that will do everything that I talked about in the training. It does that automatically. The only drawback I don't like about that is it uses the physical silo structure, which is category/post name. I prefer the virtual silo structure now, but you can do that manually with some other plugins, but it's a real pain in the ass. Network Empire has a video silo builder plugin that you can use. I think you can get that for free, actually. I don't quote me on that, but I think you can get that for free, and you can do that. You can use that to help build silos as well. Or you can even use, like I said, do it manually with things like widget context or widget logic. But then you can also use like certain plugins like, post by tag or list category posts, things like that, that you can really do some cool things with. But again, that's all more manual. If you want something easy, SEO Ultimate Pro or Network Empire's Video Silo Builder plugin are the two that I would recommend. And again, go with a premium theme though. All right, anybody else? I'm going to wrap it up.
Good to go.
Okay. Thanks everybody for sticking around a few extra minutes. I appreciate that, guys. We'll